Question. I've long put off any kind of detox because of a continual steady decline of my overall state in regards to chronic fatigue, insomnia, leaky gut from SIBO, dysbiosis, candida, and latent cross viral activation, immense amounts of brain inflammation, microglia activation. I'm gridlocked in a cell danger response in about 5 foods. I'm now out of breath and get super tired after little exertion. If I dare to treat candida and SIBO simultaneously, my neuroinflammation is immense. I don't tolerate most supplements. Worst part, I can only sleep 2 to 4 hours per night. I'm desperate because nothing works. What can I do to make any progress? Forget detox, forget fixing anything, forget everything. Lower your body burden, period. Hi, I'm Tadas with Insomniac Next Door, and I've been in your shoes so many times already. I've been dealing with insomnia for many years, and with mercury toxicity and all these gut issues and candidas and dysbiosis and everything. This video is about body burden and why it's one of the most important and overlooked things you should address if you're trying to make any progress. Good news is you can totally recover your vitality. You just have to unlearn a lot of this garbage that was put into our heads by all these online gurus, various doctors, including functional doctors, with all these supplements that many of the time makes us worse because it contributes to our body burden. It's amazing how my life changed after I started thinking of how can I reduce things that are already in my body instead of constantly try to put things in and try to fix all this stuff. First of all, let's look if this is even a thing, this body burden, right? And if you go to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention site, the definition is the body burden of toxic substance is said to be the amount of substance in a human body and represents the difference between cumulative absorption and excretion of the substance. Measuring body burdens provides precise individual measurement of exposure to a toxin. So in simple terms, the way I like to think about it is, am I excreting more toxins than I'm intaking? Is the outflow faster than inflow? This is basically the amount of toxins we store in our body safely before we start producing symptoms. A good example is alcohol. A small little drink, it makes you kind of tipsy and happy. And in 10 drinks, you kind of crash and on the floor already in a bar. Alcohol has the so-called half-life. It basically, it all depends on how fast you're intoxicating yourself before you get dizzy. If you're drinking just a little bit, right, in the evening at a party, you're detoxicating fast enough, you don't even get drunk. But if you drink a lot at once, like a whole glass of vodka or something, you can pretty much almost die, right, or get really drunk. Why? Because your body did not have enough time to detoxify itself. And the body burden went up very fast and it produced symptoms, right? Considering some claims that there's over 200 chemicals in a newborn baby and sometimes over 700 in adults, safe to say that some of us are living, walking toxic dumps, aren't we? Now, how fast we can excrete and how much we can store, it depends on many factors. In holistic medicine, sometimes this effect is referred to as rain barrel effect or a bucket, your sensitivity bucket or your body burden bucket. Now, everybody's bucket is different depending on genetics and bio-individuality. Bottom line, if your body is able to excrete faster than the amount of toxins you absorb on a daily basis, you're good, you're fine. However, if you're not excreting as fast, all these toxins and substances, they start to accumulate, right? And what happens is slowly and quietly the body stores away these toxins in various organs, fat, tissues, and brains, and so on, and it starts producing symptoms. Now, when this happens, when this rain barrel or your bucket fills up, your body is going to start freaking out. Your immune system is going to kick in. Your nervous system is going to start overheating and so on. And many times it happens all over. It has manifestations all over. And that's why some doctors get very confused and they can't put the puzzle together. Now, let me show you this little picture I made of 3 different persons with different body load, okay? So this person, you see, there is some body burden but not too much. And basically because of the general genetics, and they're excreting everything fast, or they're living a pretty healthy life or in a clean environment, and they're overall healthy. They could be like, developing a symptom here and there, but nothing too overwhelming. Now this person is already half full, okay? It's already producing symptoms and has various sensitivities. It could have allergies, it could have rashes, it could have food sensitivities. It already could be producing some sort of disease, it could be on their skin, it can be in their hair, it could be in the way they function and digest things. There's a lot of expression already when you're like about half full. And this person, like I was at some point, just is already very sick and very reactive. This is a person who doesn't tolerate any supplements. All the treatments mostly backfire. They're very frustrated. This is the person that wrote this question, right? That's just completely overwhelmed and reactive, and their nervous system is on fire. Their emotions are uncontrollable. Their sleep is wrecked, insomnia. I mean, you name it. I mean, this is somebody who's absolutely lost any sort of sense of what is happening with them, and seems very, very desperate. Just because it's almost, the more you put things on top, and it's just like if you put supplements on top, you react overall because it just keeps adding to your body burden. So let's take a look at some of the things that happens when your bucket fills up. Now you get extremely difficult time to detox. It takes a long time. You get sleep disturbances, full-blown insomnia, which sleep aids don't work. Allergies, skin issues, gut issues, food intolerances, chemical sensitivities. You get this chronic fatigue. You're unable to detox because your channels are sluggish and overwhelmed. Supplements cause paradoxical reactions. You're slow or never heal, unable to lose weight, impossible to recover thyroids or adrenals, and there's a slew of mysterious symptoms that simply puzzle the doctors. Now, many of some of these holistic practitioners that I follow in those books I read, they report that their clients are becoming more and more sensitive to everything. I mean, they're just more layered and more complicated. And this could be a sign that number of interferences and the body burden already is growing bigger with every year. And this you already know. I mean, how crucial sleep is for detoxing. Basically, if we're not sleeping, this on top adds extra body burden and makes them just a mess of epic proportions, really. Now you may be thinking, hey, look, Jack overall next door here is smokes, he parties, eats sushi, has a mouthful of amalgam fillings, munches on fast food, falls asleep with his cell phone in his hand, and there's breathing, mold and fungi all around. How come I got sick and he didn't? And the answer is just simple. Everybody has their own tolerance levels. And I was not too long ago, happily nightclubbing in San Francisco, kind of oblivious to things I'm exposing my body. But overall, I was already eating healthy and living a pretty good life, a healthy life. But then small things started popping up, and normal concerns. It looks like you go to a doctor, and then I had a surgery and all these gut infections, and I moved back to Lithuania, and I kind of crashed overall. My insomnia just went out of control, and the whole hell broke loose, and I couldn't put things together. I couldn't figure out anything. So basically, what happens is basically just your body burden keeps going up, and then it could seem like a smallest thing and makes it crash, right? It's like that straw that broke the camel's back scenario. It took me years to figure out how this all works. So I hope you take this information seriously and process this on your own and look into it. Now, what adds to body burden? And the list is endless. I won't list everything here, just a few things, but you can go back to my blog. I'll put a link in the comments and just go through all this list, and you'll see, I made a source of toxins And the most important thing is that they come from inside, the endotoxins, they come from inside your body. The body is able to produce toxins on its own, believe it or not, and completely intoxicate us. And then you can have your toxins in your home and office, and food and personal products, and then you have them in your environment. So just an example of some of the things like endotoxins, like candida or mercury fillings, they release constantly mercury, parasites and viruses like Lyme. And then what that does, it basically just causes a ton of inflammation in your liver becomes stagnant. You have low bile flow, low stomach acid. You produce all these food sensitivities. And imagine like when things are not broken down, they're just floating around, constantly circulating in your system. Like, for example, like things like ammonia, because of sluggish liver. Ammonia is very toxic, and it's just a simple byproduct of metabolism of protein, So there's all this list. And of course, stress adds a ton of body burden and so on. From home office, just a home or off, you have mold and you have cooking fumes and you have VOCs and this toxic off-gassing. And they're in everything, paint, furniture, doors, pet, paint on the walls, carpets, appliances, everything. Then you have pet allergens, you have personal products, flame retardants, cleaning products, poor cooking quality pot. There's just crazy amounts of things that can add to your body burden. And then you have food or personal products, and you have these heavy metals. You have glyphosate in our food supply. Fungicides, BPA, phthalates, pharma drugs, processed oils. The list is there. Go take a look at it. It's not even exhaustive. So it's just to give you an idea, to start educating yourself. Most of these toxins have been linked to chronic disease, cancer, insomnia, autoimmunity. It's just insane. Each of these things are like a bullet that loads a gun. One or two of them at a time won't do anything. But if you keep loading it constantly, you have an explosive situation, right? And by itself, it doesn't cause an issue, but a cocktail of them will already expose your body to just too much stress for it to handle. And here's the biggest bummer. Most of our health conditions are due to high toxic load. But yet we try to we try to treat the condition itself by simply taking medical drugs to eliminate symptoms. We take different medicine and we try to fix the organs, and we give it, different medicines to try to improve some sort of function and so on. And then write it off to like some methylation of bad genes, MTHFR, CBS, and so on and so on. Yeah, all of these can contribute, but they're not really the causative factors of why we're struggling with our health right now. I've personally chased already in trying to resolve my insomnia, after like adrenal fatigue, mast cells, thyroid issues, methylation, hormone imbalances, hyperglycemia, insulin resistance, chemical sensitivities, autoimmunity, and so on. All these things are valid. They're taking place. However, they're hugely related to the body burden and the arousal of the immune system. So it's just our bodies are super sensitized and reactive, kind of like a traumatized person. You say something, just a little bit, rude, and they react as if you completely assaulted them with violence or something like that. And that's how our bodies react to all the toxins, because they're so sensitized. Now look, most people are always trying to detox, and it doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? Because they keep adding to the body burden with additional supplements. Either they're too much of them, or they're just not suited for that particular situation. So one of the things we do is always start to remove things rather than trying to add in more things or try to fix things, okay? The mantra that worked for me is the more I try to remove things, the better my body is able to function. The less things in my body's way of doing its thing naturally, the more likely it will self-repair. Now there's some tips that I will give you before the end is basically you do want to address all these things like heavy metals, candida, and parasites, and simultaneously in a very gentle way, so that it won't add any more to your body burden, so to speak. This is why everything that has to be done in a very slow and methodical way. because all the protocols roughly have to start really with addressing the total body burden in order for anything to work. Now, there are 3 different ways to address the body burden. Again, it's in the article because there's just too much info right now. But there's a gentle way, there's a vigorous way, and there's a targeted way. So really short. A gentle way is what you basically is kind of simple. You know, you stop exposure. You look for everything in your environment that's potentially is a source of toxins, and you eliminate that. You basically you stop the inflow of things into your body that it needs to deal with. So you eliminate like allergens. You eliminate like things in your diet, like inflammatory foods. You know, you eliminate the triggers in food that are causing a reaction. Use binders, various binders to bind things up. You sweat, you do like gentle qigong, adrenal cocktails, gentle liver herbs. You know, you do a lot of nervous system support. This is what you start with. Very, very gentle, slow. You know, reduce the things that are coming in, and slowly, address your body organs so they start eliminating. Don't push anything out at this phase. Go crazy detox. Release everything in a cell, and your body is gonna start freaking out because it's not able to eliminate. Just first phase is gentle. Second phase is more vigorous phase, and it has to do with more like really pushing things out with like liver flushes, as by Andreas Moritz, and coffee enemas. They work, and castor oil liver packs is also pretty gentle, but you need to have reduced your body burden before, and then you do targeted, right? This is where you do the targeted ones, like heavy metals, and then you do viruses, and then you candida, and your limes, parasites, you name it, whatever you're dealing with. You first introduce the flow, and then you start pushing things out, but not forcefully, gently. Your body has a rhythm of its own. It's kind of like nature. You can't make nature do things faster, generally, unless you pump it with like hormones and antibiotics, and like to do with different animals and so on, for them to grow faster. We don't want to do that because it produces bad results, right? So useful mantra is strengthen the host, don't attack the guests, right? Don't start attacking everything and trying to strengthen the host first. Don't try to fix anything. Work with the body's innate ability to heal. Take away things that are in the way of our natural intelligence of healing. Provide building blocks like gentle nutrients and low stress conditions. Energy work like qigong, and start detox very slow, introduce more vigorous ways later. So focus on what matters most. The message is simple today. Stop worrying about all sorts of undiagnosed diseases and conditions. You can go nuts like this, like an idiot. The way to address it all, absolutely start to reduce your body burden. It can take years to resolve all this insomnia and chronic illness, but it's so worth it. And this is the most sane way that I found to do it. You just kind of brace yourself, start slow, and you chip away on all the layers. I've studied a lot about all these interferences that add a lot of load to our bodies. And I wrote a report you can check out in the comments. It's called Toxed Out: How to Overcome Toxin-Induced Chronic Illness and Insomnia. So go through all the list, check whether you've been exposed to all these things, and then start chipping away slowly, and you will see your whole immune system, your nervous system will start breathing again, and then more precise symptoms will pop up, and then you'll know what's really happening with you, and then you can really address it. Then you can go after all these toxins, and then how you can make progress. So it totally made sense to me after I kind of realized what's going on, and it made a huge difference, and I hope it does for you. So I hope you get better, I hope you heal, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.